Alright, so, look, people. You know I have been super obsessed with Rocket League. I've been playing it more or less nonstop for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've been doing daily streams that have been slowed down a little bit this week, but look, I've been playing a lot of Rocket League. It's a fantastic game, surprise hit of the summer. No doubt it's going to be one of my favorite games of the year, and part of that is going to be because I just don't play multiplayer games, and somehow Rocket League got me to play one. But the more I dug into Rocket League, the more I got curious about the fact that there was a game that came out in 2008 that was essentially Rocket League, and almost no one played it. It's called Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars, which I think we can safely say is a completely goddamn terrible name for a video game. If I saw that listed on a store, I would run away from it and not ever want to play that game. And it appears I was not alone in doing that. You can still get it on PlayStation 3 for $2.99. It's super cheap. It's like a 100 meg download. But I kind of wanted just to walk through a little bit of Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars to kind of show a little bit of what it's like, especially relative to Rocket League. So why don't I jump in here? Let's see if there's anyone playing online, just for the sake of seeing if there are people online. So there are. Okay. There's a bunch of people playing online. Let's just join a game. Let's see if we can get in. I was having trouble joining games when I was trying to play online the last time around, so we'll give this one shot before just moving on with our lives. The difference, one of the key differences between this game and we're just not going to bother. And Rocket League is that it doesn't do skill-based matchmaking. You are picking matches at random based on the map and the amount of players, and just sort of saying, well, hopefully that seems like fun. And what was common based on the sort of top-tier Rocket League players that I talked to was that, you'd end up in a match full of people that were going to completely destroy you. But, right off the bat, you can see why this is Rocket League. I mean, look. You're jetting over things. You can jump. You can twist. You can turn around, and look, there are goals. I'm not doing much to help my team. One of the big differences between Rocket League and this game is sort of the dynamics of the arenas, right? So you'll see there's a lot of weird curved surfaces here. It's a small bowl. There's a ramp in the middle. There's essentially just a lot of places for the ball to go and move in really wild directions that you normally wouldn't be dealing with in traditional Rocket League. But what's kind of cool about it is that it does stuff like that, in which you can sort of treat the game like pinball. Where when you kind of come up to the ball and whack it, notice where it goes. Like, it really, well, you can really do some wild things with it. Also, what's different is like when you play single player, which is obviously what I'm doing. There's actually just like a more elaborate single player. There's these mini games you can play. When you do these sort of exhibition matches, you are given a star count. I don't think you can cash the stars in for anything, so it's sort of just, do you like getting stars for the sake of getting stars? Which, to be fair, not that much different than trophies. Just doesn't really go on a more generalized profile. But you can see that, a lot of what has become the sensation that is Rocket League existed in this game. I think they made important changes. The controls are tighter in Rocket League. They're at least the sort of like opening arenas that you're playing in are much more simple, and I think that part in particular is pretty important because it's allowed people to grasp the nuances of Rocket League without it getting too out of control, and I think that would have been, not that it wouldn't have allowed people to enjoy the game, but I think it would have made it a little bit more difficult for folks like myself, right? Like, what's great about Rocket League is just how much of it is kind of like just kind of flat, clean, across the board, you know, I feel like it might be a little bit vanilla in 6 months when they've added a bunch of wild DLC maps that are a little more quote-unquote interesting. But by being uninteresting, it's allowed me to sort of understand the game and appreciate the game. But then when I come to this, I suddenly start thinking, so we're going to bop out of here. And why don't I just kind of set up an exhibition? So I want to show some of the other maps because they're interesting. So there are bots just like there are in regular Rocket League, and you'll see like one of the it's elevation, right? Like elevation is just not a thing in Rocket League. It's you just kind of mostly on a flat surface. Obviously, you're hitting things up a wall, but it's just not nearly as complicated as some of these maps allow you to be, and that makes them super interesting. Especially as you know, pretty soon the maps that do exist are going to become less interesting. Like they're going to have to do things that shake them up that aren't just, well, here's another bowl soccer-like arena to mess around with. Is that a goal? Oh, there's a goal. Way to go, Grim. The destructibility is also in this version of the game. I'll see if I can pull it off here in a second. So you kind of hit overdrive right there. Boop. Nope. There's no one there for me to try and fight. There it is. Alright, so I destroyed that guy. So, you know, again, like a lot of the fundamentals of Rocket League already here. And it makes me, you know, think about, is it just the tiny things, the polish, the name change? Is it PlayStation Plus? Like, what are the factors that allowed Rocket League to take off in a way that this game never could have dreamed? They probably couldn't have dreamed it for Rocket League. And it's hard to pin it down, right? Because if you also... This one, I find this map to be super interesting, as I'll point out in just a second. But, you know, like you look at N++, which also came out on PlayStation Plus in the last couple of weeks. N+ came out around the same time as this game. N+ was a hit for the time. N++ kind of came and already feels like it's gone. You know, I don't know what success is for two game developers that are only making back with the two of them who worked on the game. I think they had a programmer who worked on it as well, but extremely small team, small budget, not technically, you know, not a lot of like 3D graphics and things like that. So, you know, what Rocket League needs to be successful, what a game like this needs to be successful, are sort of like different metrics. But it just makes me wonder, you know, how often do game developers work on something, and are there alternate worlds where if they were just released at a different time, if they just polished X, Y, or Z, that they would have been gigantic successes, and we just don't know it? Because it's just odd. It just blows my mind that this game came out, what, 7 years ago, and it's like no one heard of it. I ran a story on Kotaku that I was able to legitimately write the headline, a game, you know, the game that everyone loves came out 7 years ago, and no one played it. And that's not to say that no one played it. Like, the game may have been the success they were looking for relative to what they anticipated, but you know, relative to Rocket League, which is a general phenom, this game was played by no one. And it's based, you know, a lot of my skills apply right over. Get that in. Aw. And a lot of my complete misses that happen in Rocket League all the time also apply right over. And I found that, you know, I've been really enjoying kind of checking this out. More as a curiosity. I don't know that I would tell anyone that enjoys Rocket League, hey, you should go check this out as well. I mean, it's only $2.99, but I like stuff like this, right? I like the fact that these maps show a little trickery I don't know if like the giant elevated maps are as interesting as even this just small tweak where the ball can go beyond the goal, where you can come from behind with the ball, and that subtle ramp would allow you to take it over, push it off to the side, and someone on the front could take care of it. Just little things that I feel like are not introduced in Rocket League right now, but most likely will be there in the future. Just I checked this out already. I thought it'd be worth kind of passing on a look at this rather than telling people, hey, go pay $2.99 to find out what this game used to look like. This is what it looked like. It was Rocket League, which is to say it's a pretty damn good game. It's a more complicated game than Rocket League, I think. Oh, that's going to miss. But nonetheless, the fundamentals, the foundation was there, and yet it didn't take off, and yet it wasn't a success. And now we're looking at Rocket League being one of the years, not only one of the best games potentially, but one of the most successful. So that's this game. Again, you can check it out for $2.99 on PSN if that suits your fancy. But otherwise, just kind of a glimpse into the past at what Rocket League was 7 years before Rocket League was a hit. That's Supersonic Acrobatic, Rocket Power Battle Cars, and that is still a terrible name for a video game.